Okay, so for this series of drawings, we're going to select two objects, and we're going to use the larger of the object, or the easiest to draw of the object, to build up a reference point for the rest of the drawing. So for this drawing, I'm going to use the pear. So I'm just going to measure out the pear, and I've noticed that the pear is the same width as the edge of where the banana goes. So I'm using the pear's width to kind of give my proportions for the banana. Then I'm using the angle of the banana, which I can measure in, and I can kind of see where it cuts into the pear, or the shape of the pear. So then I'm just going to gently just draw in the outline of the pear, and where that angle of the banana goes in, and where that curve of the banana goes, is going to help me put to where the banana goes in. You notice the bottom end of the banana, I've drawn a line straight up from that before I begin, and roughly that's just kind of a bit of a distance away. I'm using all of those little outside parts of the object to kind of put the proportions together, and using the shapes around the outside of the objects to kind of give you the form of the objects inside. So we're using that negative space. And then just to finish off, just putting in some details, some shading, hatching and cross hatching to give the form to the particular still life that you have chosen. And now one more time, I'm just going to select some different still life. So this time I'm looking at a capsicum and some flowers in a pot. So the capsicum, I've decided I'm just going to be drawing the outside of the capsicum and getting that sort of rectangle shape. And then what I'm doing is I'm using that rectangle shape to kind of build up where the glass jar or the vase goes. And so I'm using the measurements that I can find inside the capsicum's space to measure where the glass jar goes. So what I do notice is that the glass jar is about halfway along the whole length of the capsicum, and that the jar itself almost fits into the whole capsicum. So I've just used that big shape to measure in the smaller shapes. And now I've got my construction lines in, I can slowly begin to put in the details of the objects that I've decided to draw. So I'm using the squares or the rectangle sort of shapes to kind of be my guide to put some of the other details in. So gently just drawing in bits and pieces and using the square shapes to kind of give me a level of where all of the parts go. I'm just going to draw in those shapes, and then once I've finished, I'm just going to put in the details just with hatching and cross hatching to give me some light and dark, just to show a bit more of the form of the shapes. And once again, the key to this is to get the proportion right on your big shape, and then use the big shape and compare it to the little shapes to get the next set of proportions correct. So it's really quite arbitrary. You can try a variety of ways, but the main thing is to get your proportions correct. With correct proportions, then you're more likely to get a satisfactory drawing.